Okay, good evening. Welcome. Welcome to the Sunnyvale Town Council meeting for Monday, June 27. Please join me in standing for the invocation to be given by Mayor Pro-Tem.
Our Heavenly Father, we come together tonight and thank you for your many blessings. We thank you for allowing us to live in this great town. We pray for wisdom and guidance as we come together to discuss town business. We ask that you give us the ability to listen and to learn and to work together as we conduct our work for Sunnyvale. Thank you again for all your blessings. In your name, amen.
Amen. Please join me in standing for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Please be seated. At this time, let me call to order the regular town council meeting for Monday, June 27th. I welcome everyone. For the record, all council members are present and we have quorum. Time is 7:01. The first item is presentations, scholarship presentation by Sunnyvale Firefighters Association. I'm going to call upon Chief Country.
Evening, Mayor and Council. I certainly don't appreciate this time. It's the Firefighters Association night. They want to do a presentation to SISD students. That this is their second year in a row to give out scholarships, and we're certainly proud of those guys that are putting that together and doing it for the community. So this time, what I'd like to do is introduce Dreu Bynum. He's in the association, and so he'll do the presentation with the names and that sort of thing.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Bynum.
Good evening, Council. I appreciate y'all letting us be here today. We started our association in 2019. It's always been a goal of ours to give back to the community, and in doing so, we thought what better way than to give back to the students of Sunnyvale, the future of Sunnyvale. So this is, like you said, our second year giving away two $500 scholarships. This is actually our own money that we're putting towards it from our monthly fees that we give every month. And at this time, I would like to call Caroline Henderson and Zachary Bartis up here. So we received several scholarships or several essays for these two scholarships, and we were able to pick these based off of what they wrote. And it seems like they have a bright future ahead of themselves, dreams and aspirations to be better, and we'd like to help you guys out with that. So, yeah.
Right in the middle. Go up front, something. Awesome work. Congratulations.
Okay, next one, we have a big one. This is the recognition of the Finance Department for receiving the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting from the Government Finance Officers Association for the 4th consecutive year. So let me read what this recognition is all about. The Government Finance Officers Association is pleased to announce that Town of Sunnyvale has received GFOS Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for its budget. The award represents a significant achievement by the entity. It reflects the commitment of the governing body and staff to meeting the highest principles of government budgeting. In order to receive the budget award, the entity had to satisfy nationally recognized guidelines for effective budget presentation. These guidelines are designed to assess how well an entity's budget serves as a policy document, a financial plan, an operations guide, a communications device. Budget documents must be rated proficient in all 4 categories and in the 14 mandatory criteria within those categories to receive the award. When a distinguished budget presentation award is granted to an entity, a certificate of recognition for budget presentation is also presented to the individuals or department designated as being primarily responsible for having achieved the award. I'm honored to tell you that this award has been presented to our finance department for the 4th year. We appreciate the effort and dedication that these ladies put into preparing the town's budget document. They set an excellent example for other local governments. Please join me in congratulating our team. Okay, then I'm going to give you that. When you already had the pizza.
Once again,
Winner 16 years in a row. No. We never get tired of it.
This way, we'd rather you win.
Great job, guys. Okay, the next item on the agenda is announcements and acknowledgement. Pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.0415, mayor and council and staff may report on various items listed on the agenda. Council, this is the time for recognition and announcements. I want to take a moment to thank and appreciate our town staff, especially Erica and the rest of the team. We have Burton was very involved, Public Works, police and fire, town manager, entire staff, right, for putting together a very well-organized Sunnyfest. I know the attendance was light, but I liked it. I could meet people, I can talk to people, and there are too many people sometimes who just start kind of go with the flow. The fireworks was beautiful, the music, and all the arrangements. So I just want to thank you to each one of the staff, keeping it safe, emergency management, and all the programs. Town even supply cold water for all the attendees. So it's really well done. So on behalf of the council, I want to say thank you. Are there any other announcements? Council. How about you, Mr. Manager?
Mayor, I think you made the most important announcement with all of the effort the staff put in. So thank you for the recognition.
Okay, moving on to the next item, public comments. This is the time members of the audience may come forward and speak to the council on any items other than legal matters or personal matters or items on the agenda. If you'd like to come forward and speak to the council, you may do so at this time. If you are joining us via Zoom, you may raise your hand. No one is coming forward from the chamber. Eric, anyone raising the hand?
No, sir.
No hands raised. We're going to close the public comments. Moving on to the consent agenda item. Council, we have one item. Item number 3, consider action on minutes from the June 13, 2022 Town Council meeting. Are there any comments or discussions on this? Okay, if not, can I have a motion to approve consent agenda item 3 as presented?
Motion to approve agenda item 3 as presented.
Motion made by Mr. Freeman, second by Mr. Allen to approve consent agenda item 3. All in favor signify. All opposed, motion passed 7-0. Moving on to the discussion action items of the agenda item number 4. Discuss, consider, and act upon bid results for phase 2 of the 2022 street rehab and repair project. That be Mr. Jenkins? Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Thank you. Just a little background on this. These were these particular roadway projects that were involved in this particular bid were a number of concrete roadway sections within the town that had previously been identified last year as roads that needed work when we went through the DMAIC process of looking at roads that the town needed to address. We had previously bid out phase 1 of this work, which was a replacement and repair of a number of asphalt roadway sections, which are underway at this time. What we did for the next phase was we separated out these particular concrete roadways as one project, and then we also bid a group of asphalt roadways at the same time. We did not get any bids on the asphalt roadway section. We did, however, get 2 bids on these roadway sections that are listed in the item report. The low bid was in the amount of just under $1.9 million, which was significantly in excess of the anticipated costs. Due to these issues with these latest round of bid on these projects, staff is looking at revisiting this. Rather than just bidding these out as a straight project as we had, we are looking at doing what's called an indefinite quantity, indefinite duration project, which is also called an IDIQ project. What that basically is rather than bid out specific roadway sections, we bid it out by unit prices. For example, we would just say get a price for a square yard of concrete or a square yard of asphalt, what have you. Then as we identify individual roadway sections, we do them on a one-to-one basis with the same contractor to be more efficient and more effective for both the town and for the contractor. One of the reasons we didn't get any asphalt bids was just because of the sheer scale of what we were having to bid out, bidding them all as one group. It resulted in contractors not being willing to take on that work commitment.
Was it small or too big?
The commitment we were asking the contractor to make was too large, just too much work, given the current labor conditions and material prices and just difficulty in obtaining materials. So we want to do that for both these concrete roadways and the remaining asphalt roadway projects. But before we can move forward, we do need to formally deal with the bids that we received for the concrete roadway projects, which is what we're looking at tonight. So again, the low bid was in the amount of $1,886,368 for the roadway sections as listed in the report. And our recommendation is that this bid be rejected so that we can move forward with the IDIQ contract to get these roads built in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Let me take public comments. If there's anyone from the members of the audience who would like to speak to the council on this item, you may come forward. If you're joining us via Zoom, you may raise your hand. Yes, sir. Good evening. Come on, sir. Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Kent Pippin. I live at 220 Mansfield Boulevard.
Good evening, Mr. Pickens.
Good evening. Just curious about what I think I just heard. Evidently, of course, prices of everything now is increased in a lot of things, labor, insurance, materials, etc. So I'm hearing a number that you're, what it sounds like, about to turn down. Yet you're turning around and what it sounds like is you're going to build out the same amount of work on a time and material basis for unit pricing. Is that correct?
Well,
yeah.
The way this revised contract would work would be, rather than us committing to all of these projects as one group at one time, it allows us to spread the work out over multiple years and not bid all of them out at once, so that we can do one project at a time. And it's just more effective for the work. It also allows a contractor to take on projects on an individual basis rather than taking on a large group all at once. So we can spread it out and be more efficient. And it's just something where it's easier to get the contractors to bid on this kind of arrangement. The work would still get done. It would just be under a different contract setup.
I'm not doubting the work would be done. What I'm questioning is if in general you have a scope of work that you present to someone that we want from here to here or X amount, units, whatever you want to discuss, then you have an overall number that comes in. With that number, they back it up with, here's our labor fees based on helpers, supervision, etc., the overhead costs. And usually you have something involved when you're doing construction where you've got to mobilize. So that's a fee that gets charged. So if you're going to do these individually things, are you going to have a mobilization fee with every single one?
That is part of the, that is baked into, excuse me, sir, I'm sorry. That is baked into each individual bid item. Those costs are included. They're incidental to the contract. And yes, those kind of fees are going to be part of any project work. The flip side of it, by making it something that's more palatable for the contractors and something that's easier for them to take on, we hope to get more bids at better pricing. So in the long run, we'll end up saving money.
Not sure I follow how it saves money, because automatically, what I just heard you say, each and every piece of work that they're going to do is automatically going to have another mobilization fee in there.
Yeah, Mr. Pippin, I think the procedure is, Mr. Attorney, you can correct me. This is not basically a back and forth between the staff and the speaker. Am I right, Mr. Attorney? This is where the citizens can speak, express their concerns. And if there are additional discussion needs to be, we can arrange a meeting or something.
I can do that. My point then, if I need to just say something. Typically, when you're doing something where you're getting a bid, you've got a scope of work that lays out to several different people. And also it doesn't, I heard you didn't get people to submit on bids. Surely there's more than 2 or 3 different contractors that would look at a bid for something this size that's close to $2 million, which evidently you've had a budget in there for it. and you exceeded what this cost of the budget was going to be. My deal is in question that you're getting fair pricing and getting the most amount of work for what the agreed pricing is. Understand unit pricing and such, but if you're going to do a dab of work, I'm just picking words. I'm not an eloquent speaker or anything like that. I'm just saying if you're going to pick an item of work and you're going to revisit different items, and each time you're going to treat it like it's nothing's ever been done before, then I disagree that piecemeal work can be done over in lines or for less money than what an overall contract. You should have some costs not to exceed. There should be some kind of parameters on this kind of work instead of just okay, we're going to proceed. Here's our unit pricing, and then unit pricing keeps varying. That's all I got to say. Thanks for listening.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Are there any other comments from the audience? And again, anyone raising their hand?
No, sir.
Going to close the public comments. Mr. Town Manager, do you have any comments or anything you want to add to that, sir?
Mayor, just real quick, and I think Lyle mentioned this in his presentation. We also had an asphalt project we received 0 bidders on and only 1 bid on the concrete. So obviously it was not a competitive environment. So as Lyle mentioned, we will be going back and revisiting the bid specs so that we can accomplish all of the projects in phase 2 under budget, or at least close to budget, and have a lot more competition in the contractor industry for both asphalt and concrete, because we need both materials to finish phase 2. So we have to reject these bids to go back out in the market, and the IDIQ process is certainly an effective way that many other cities have done this before, and I think it'll increase our chances of having more contractors and having a lot more flexibility, being able to get and it's not uncommon to have numerous contractors be awarded a bid so that you can have several projects going, maybe by different contractors under the IDIQ process. So this is just the first step, which is rejection of the bids, the 1 bid that we received. And so we hope that we'll stay on track this fall and get back into the market and hopefully come back with more favorable pricing.
Two comments, Mr. Lal. When we talked about this going out and bidding, initially we talked about IDIQ contract. That was the approach we talked about. Why did we decide to not pursue that path? That was what staff recommended originally.
As I recall, and to some extent, that was something that the previous Director of Development Services was kind of spearheading. So I don't want to speak for him since he is not here to speak on that. When we were preparing this particular bid package, the direction that I was given was to do it the way that we did. It was just straight bid, similar to what we did for the projects that are currently under construction. And then the intention was to use the IDIQ for ongoing projects moving forward past this. But since this, as Jeff said, ended up being a non-competitive response, we want to accelerate that and put the ease in with the IDIQ as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I understand staff changes, different directions. I get that. We got town manager here now. The second part, the citizens' comments about more times immobilized, right? And it's understandable there's going to be cost. And also not to exceed. Would that be some of those considerations will be accounted for in your new process? So that's a very good question, right?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. There's always mobilization costs with any project. There's no doubt about that. And whether you have one contractor or multiple contractors, we're still going to be paying a mobilization cost. I think the point with this particular bid is, and again, some of these projects required asphalt, not all of them required concrete. And so, certainly going forward, I think we can better position ourselves to be in a position. So yes, we'll be paying mobilization costs, but we should be able to get more of the project work done under a different bidding methodology than we had previously, obviously. And I believe this bid was accepted sometime in May, if I recall. So yes, there will be mobilization costs, but those are going to happen with any project. So I don't know if that answered your question, Mayor, but
it did. I just so the only point I'm trying to make is sure that right. So I totally get it. Economy change, construction cost is significantly increased, so I understand and understand the labor market, and it's hard to find people on every level. I get that. So, and I understand the process, right? Without rejecting this one, we cannot go. And so I'm fully understand. What I ask is that these are put in our budget priorities because there's a need, and staff has done the work to rate them and use the DMAIC principles and approach to. So I ask that staff come back to us, hopefully here in the next, maybe next meeting or something, at least present a plan, a date, right? I understand, I'm not almost like a schedule, right? Project schedule, like by this time you're going to have the bids out, and we want to make sure these things keep moving. I understand, we got to work
Sure.
within our budget. That if it goes way above the budget, either we got to go find the budget or we had to adjust the scope. Again,
Yeah,
So-
and Mayor, to your point, I think the staff was planning on and had already been working on the new bids as we speak. So that this has been in motion, I think, since the bids came in significantly, I think more than around 50% over budget. So I think the staff started working on some other alternatives. So it shouldn't take us very long. We'll certainly come back and present an updated schedule to the council here shortly this summer within the next few meetings and put a plan in place so y'all can be aware of what the new timeframe will be.
yeah, understand. Okay, council, additional questions or discussions on this topic? So that-
I would,
Yes, sir.
the new time frame is going to be really important. Because part of the way that this whole thing was set up, you had the red roads, you had the yellow roads, and time turns yellow roads into red roads. And the quicker we can get to these projects, I mean, even if things are really expensive today, they're maybe only going to get more expensive. So the quicker we can get to the red roads, hopefully we can get to the yellow before they turn to red, we can keep the prices down. But yeah, I mean, the time frame of this is going to be really important.
So to that point, may I ask that staff give us an update on this in the next council meeting? Could be that you're just begin to work. You may not have a timetable laid out, and I respect that. At least want to make sure that we kept this in front of us.
Mayor, I think we can come back at one of the meetings in July for sure and give you an updated timeframe.
Okay.
I'll get with Lyle and see where we're at with the bid specs and get with the make sure we have our procurement processes lined up. So, but we can certainly come back in in July at one of the two meetings and brief you on that.
That work for you, Mr. Freeman?
Absolutely.
Council, additional questions or discussions?
Mayor, I just want to make a
Mr.
comment.
Egan?
I just want to make a comment. I totally agree with where the president spoke from. But at the same time, we don't know what we're going to get. And this needs to be broken down because what the number is right now is not reasonable. And we don't have the percentage difference here, but it's indicated in our agenda that it was excessively high. I think we have to try to do those things that spend the town's money to the greatest efficiency. And in today's world, it's not easy. And this just is an alternative way that we can look at. We don't have to accept the bids when they come in. And we can drop back to this one. If we choose, we'd have to get it revised. But I think it's important that we exhaust all alternatives to save the town money or not blow our budget out of the water. Because we don't have an endless pile of money laying around. So the point's well taken, at least it is for me. I just think that it's important that we look at alternative ways to get the best bang for the buck at the end of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Egan. Additional comments? Okay, if not, can I call for a motion?
What exactly are we?
I think the staff recommendation is reject all bids.
And to do the IDIQ,
I think,
no, just to reject. it. Okay.
yeah, I think they'll let them come back, staff come back with that IDIQ, the plan schedule.
Mayor, I'll make the motion to reject the contract as presented.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Allen, second by Mr. Clark to reject all bids. Everyone heard the motion? The additional discussions. If not, all in favor signify. All opposed, motion passed 7. Moving on to the next item number 5, consider action removing Cass Robert Callaway as associate judge for the town of Sunnyvale. Ms. Ramsey?
Mayor and council, good evening. So on March the 28th, you all voted to appoint Mr. Callaway as an associate judge for the town of Sunnyvale. It's been brought to staff's attention that Mr. Callaway is no longer a judge for the city of Seagoville. Therefore, Judge Callaway will not be arraigning any of our defendants or prisoners. So in accordance with section 5.4 or 5.04C of the town charter, we're requesting that we remove Judge Callaway as an associate judge.
Thank you, Ms. Ramsey. We open up for public comments. If there's anyone from the members of the audience who would like to speak to the council on this item, you may come forward. If you're joining us via Zoom, you may raise your hand. No one is coming forward from the chamber. Eric, anyone raising their hand?
No, sir.
No hands raised. We're going to close the public comments. Council, are there any questions or discussions on item number 5? If none, I call for a motion.
Motion to approve item 5 as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Freeman, second by Mr. Eldridge to approve agenda item 5 as presented. Everyone heard the motion? With additional discussions. If not, all in favor signify. All opposed, motion passed 7-0. Moving on to the item number 6, consider action appointing Scott Korth as an associate judge for the town of Sunnyvale. Ms. Ramsey?
Mayor and council, this is doing the same thing that you did on March 28th for Judge Callaway. Judge Kurth has now taken Judge Callaway's position in the city of Seagoville. So he will be arraigning our defendants and prisoners and setting fines and court costs. So we would ask that you appoint him as an associate judge to be able to do so for us. He is not here today. He could not come
But
today.
will be effective today.
It will be effective today and he will come in this week to do his oath.
Okay. I'm going to open up for public comments. If there's anyone from the members of the audience who would like to come forward and speak to the council, item number 6, you may do so. If you're joining us via Zoom, you may raise your hand. No one is coming forward from the chamber. Eric, anyone raise their hand?
No, sir.
No hands raised. So we're going to close the public comments. Council, are there any questions or discussions on item number 6? Okay, if none, I call for a motion.
Make a motion to approve item 6 as presented.
Motion made by Mr. Freeman,
Second.
second by Mr. Clark to approve agenda item 6 as presented. Everyone heard the motion? For the additional discussions. If none, all in favor signify. All opposed, motion passed 7-0. Moving on to item number 7, mayor and council requests for future staff updates and agenda items. Mr. Freeman?
I think we're kind of away from the pandemic for quite a while at this point. Do we still have to do the Zoom meetings for the actual people not in attendance? Because we ask every time, hey, are there any hands raised? There haven't been a hand raised in probably 12 months. Can we make it or possibly bring up an agenda item to discuss the viability of making it where citizens have to show back up in order to attend the meeting? Can we discuss that at next meeting? No?
I think that that's been discussed among staff as well. But I think that, between now and the next meeting, we'll get with our city attorneys and see if that's something that we could do. That's been talked about with staff as well.
I mean, maybe it's a good idea, maybe it's not. It just seems that we've been having this for the last, whatever, and I don't think we've had a hand raised in the last 18 months.
And to be honest with you, we haven't even had anybody sign on in probably the last 8 months.
All right, thank you.
Are there, yeah, Mr. Clark?
Okay, a few things. Could we get, I know we're close on Trip Road, so can we keep on getting updates on that? I'm eager for an update in the next few days that we can drive on it. So if we can get an update on that at some point. Another item I want to bring up is if we can get the events committee back together. Several things I'd like the events committee to discuss is setting a date for next year for Sunnyfest and maybe discuss considering having the same date every year moving forward. So it's like maybe the Friday before the 4th of July every year, something like that. Get it set so people can start to just have a schedule for it. So anyway, that's the discussion point for later. But I think we also need to get to start discussing Veterans Day and Thanksgiving Day, the race. Some other updates I'd like to get an update on the street lights for Collins. So I think those are still not put up yet. And then one more item I'd like to discuss at some point. I don't know if it's next meeting or just, outside, but also maybe updating the town website. I was trying to look up some things and it was pretty hard to navigate that website. So I think the economic 4B is updating their website. So maybe there's some efficiencies we could do it if we did together. But so those are just some items I'd love to discuss in the near future.
Town
Thank you.
attorney, can I address the website real fast?
Is there a discussion or not?
Okay, I was just gonna say, if you have something specific you want us to update, let us know, but we are in complete redesign of the website for an update.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Mr. Finch.
Just one more item regarding roads, just an update. When you update us on the DMAIC process, this next council meeting, can we just, I think, cover this, but really concerned about Collins Road before school starts. It's pretty rough through right in front of the school. I'm sure you'll address it, but I just want to bring that up that we could look at that schedule for repairs on our existing high traffic roadway. Thank you.
Other additional items for future council agenda? Okay, if there are none, I call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Mr. Freeman, second by Mr. Finch to adjourn. All in favor signify. All opposed, motion passed 7-0, time is 7:37, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.